So I made that video about the lack of variety in the custom server thing, you know, that wasn't too long ago. And by that I mean it was yesterday. And I wanted to make a video about this, but I didn't want to clog everybody's feed with multiple videos in a day. So I waited a little bit, let myself gather some thoughts and everything, and I basically wanted to talk about this thread, which is using custom games to farm EXP while inactive, and kind of give my thoughts on it and everything like that. Here's the thing. Here's how I feel about doing this, using custom games to farm EXP while inactive. Obviously, you're not supposed to do it. You were never supposed to do it in the first place, at all. Knowing Blizzard and knowing the fact that the loot box system is probably one of the best ways that they're making money right now, they would not want people infringing on that ability, however slow it may be. Because generally speaking, it takes about an hour and a half to actually get up a level in one of these things, because it's about 6,000 or 7,000 EXP per time you sit in a skirmish, or at least it was. I'll leave a link to the thread in the description so that you can read it over. You can also kind of read it here. I'll be scrolling up and down, so if you want to pause at certain points, you are more than welcome. I'm not going to read it, but I will tell you exactly what I think about it. I have read it over several times. And one of the things that really pisses me off about this, other than the general air of this post being not so much a company saying, hey, don't do this, as it is a disappointed parent scolding a disobedient child, is the fact that the punishment feels too steep for a problem that can easily be fixed in another way. And it's also in a way that they've kind of already fixed it. The way that they're going about this just seems all wrong to me. And the way that is the AFK timer was all that was needed. The AFK timer is the number one thing in order to remedy this problem. And I don't know how it wasn't completely obvious that that's all you needed to do. The argument could be made, however, that people used bots to automatically choose characters so that they didn't have to actually be at their computer, and they also made bots that would automatically move them around and make them attack. I actually witnessed this several times because I would go into servers to just kind of fuck around when they were these stupid AFK farm things. I didn't do it to farm. I did it because I felt like fucking around with some silly settings. It's a lot more fun to do that in skirmish than it is an actual game, because when it's an actual game, I'm always losing, and that's not fun. I'm joking. But the reason this just... the reason I don't think that the EXP needed to be taken away from skirmish mode entirely is just because of that. Because going around in a skirmish is fun. And why shouldn't somebody get rewarded for spending 30 minutes in a game just dicking around? Now that sounds really stupid, but you also have to understand that the custom server, in your own words, was made for people to play the game in unique and different ways. And skirmish mode, permanent skirmish mode, is one of the things that I've always wanted to see. Ever since this game came out, just because sometimes I like to sit around and do nothing. And again, I don't think that there should be any sort of punishment towards the people who want to do that. To the AFK people, it's incredibly easy to also curb that. In this post, he also says that they're going to start banning people who come forward and make these servers and say that you can farm EXP here. Even if it's a joke, they'll still ban you for it. And the easy solution to that is to not ban the people making stupid joke-named servers, but to ban the people using bots. And you may be wondering, well, how exactly are they going to go about that? How are they going to distinguish a regular old player running around a server, just, you know, kind of fucking around, and a bot? And if you're honestly asking that, you have never seen a bot in this game, because the several times that I was in these servers, the bots were very obvious. One of them was a Zarya bot that I saw that would fire endlessly and would also run forward. And by run forward, I mean run directly forward into walls. Sometimes they would turn, but very rarely. And very often they would fall off cliffs. It was actually kind of funny. Bot behavior is very, very different than regular human behavior. And I don't feel like that's something that'd be very hard to monitor. On top of that, bots usually have to interfere with the program. That's the whole, you know, that's how aimbots work. That's how wall hacks work. That's how all that stuff works. So generally speaking, you should be able to detect when a third-party program is fucking with a game. That just seems, you know, like a relatively simple thing to think up. One of the things that I also don't like about this post is the last paragraph that you can see right here, which is, we are not naive to player motivation, etc., etc. Basically stating that they knew that this was going to happen. They actually set up an entire, I guess, tree of things that would happen if people continued to abuse the system. And earlier in the post they mentioned, you know, oh, we wanted to give people the benefit of the doubt and everything like that, and that's cool and all, but, you know, this might seem tinfoil hatty, conspiracy theory, but I don't believe that they actually wanted to give people the benefit of the doubt. Now let's roll it back here. I'm not saying that because I expected them to punish people. I'm saying that because the system in which you gained XP was very just cut and dry. You gained 6,000 XP at the end of a game. That's it. There was no fanfare. There was no seeing it actually go up on the meter or anything. You just had to check your career profile, and that's generally how it would work. Now, if the detecting bots thing isn't something that they can do realistically, because I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly what goes into making these things, another solution is to just have the experience you get. And have the AFK timer, of course. Because the thing is, a regular game goes on for about 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, you generally gain about 2,000, 3,000 experience, depending on what time of day you played, like whether or not you've gotten the first win of the day, how you performed, all that jazz. So if you kind of equalize the experience you get from a 30-minute skirmish and the experience you get from a regular old quick play game, it'll discourage people from using that system anyway. There will still be people trying to use it, but again, that just goes back to the fact that the AFK timer's there, and if it's there, people will use bots. If they use bots, it should be easy to detect. Kind of, you know, it seems easy enough. But my thing is, I don't understand how they have this like tree set up for this, and how they expect to get to a point where they have to completely remove EXP from custom games. The next logical step for people who want to do something like this would be for them to go into like a competitive preset match under a different name that Blizzard hasn't detected yet, and they would all be using bots. And that seems like a lot of work for a very small yield. It's just stupid ass loot boxes. That's all it is. And I gotta be honest, one of the things that I saw about this that I didn't really think about, even though I have my own Smurf account, which is this is what it's about, is the fact that leveling up a Smurf account, unless you throw a hilarious amount of games, is really, really hard. And it's not so much because of the fact that the games get hard, but it's the queue times are so long. You gotta, like, after a while, you gotta start throwing, because otherwise you will be in the queue for 6 to 12 minutes. That's how it was for my Smurf for a very long time. That's how it still is for quick play. Competitive play is a little bit different, which kind of gets into the philosophy that I believe that quick play should not consider level so much as it should consider the hidden MMR system that it has. But yeah, that's basically how I feel about this entire post. One of the things that I'm really, really not a fan of ever since I've seen this is the Blizzard dick riding wagon. And I'm not saying this to be contrarian, but I swear to you this game has some of the most sycophantic and fanatic fans I've ever seen. People will immediately jump on the Blizzard Defense Force bus anytime something like this happens. Personally, I think it's really foolish of them to have, quote-unquote, given people the benefit of the doubt. They had to have known a system like this would have been abused. They did, because they created that whole tree of punishment, I'll call it, in order to curb this. So I don't understand why they wouldn't just do this from the very beginning if they knew this would happen. People will be people. They will do this shit. It's like the TF2 idling system. If people could find a way around it to do it easier, they'll do it. You know? Like, that's how I feel about it, at least. You know. Of course, in the comments, you're always welcome to let me know what you think as well. Before I finish this video, let me say, you know, I don't hate Blizzard. I'm not a big fan of them. I haven't been a big fan of them since the whole Diablo 3 thing. But they are at least decent enough at they're decent enough at taking feedback. If they weren't, Diablo 3 would still be a terrible game. Which I think it's pretty good now, after all the things they've changed. So hopefully somebody out there hears this, or hopefully something happens that kind of reverts this a little bit so that people who didn't really abuse the system can still benefit from doing skirmishes. That's what I want to see. But who knows? You know, I honestly don't know at this point. I like Jeff. I like the Overwatch team. I love how much they've been communicating with people. It's one of my favorite things, especially coming from something like TF2. But they've made a lot of dumb decisions over the past months. So let's hope they continue to learn and hope that this game continues to grow, because I really want to see it grow. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.